Hello and welcome to the Grow Podcast. I am your host, David Rocker. This podcast will cover a variety of topics dealing with faith, life, and you. The end goal is to challenge and inspire you to grow physically, mentally, and definitely spiritually to become the best version of you that you can possibly be. So get planted and let's get ready to grow. Yes, welcome back to the Grow Podcast. I'm waving. No one's in the studio, but I love having a built-in audience. No one is never hating on me in the Grow Podcast. Well, listen, I hope you guys are ready for another great week of growing. The past couple of weeks, I've been talking about Let's Talk Auburn, and I'm not done yet. Had such a great response last week by having my guy Brian Smith on, so I brought him back. This week, we're going to recap the game. We're going to talk about some other questions that we have. And just once again, let me just go ahead and welcome my guy, Brian Smith, back to the Grow Podcast. Yeah.
Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate that intro.
Do you feel the love, brother? Do you feel the love?
Yeah. It's coming up. It's coming through.
All I have to do is just say, hey, guys, welcome Brian to the show. They just go crazy. I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it, man. So, B, let's start out, man. How was your week this past week? Everything went good?
Yeah, it was good.
Okay.
It was good. Still reeling from just trying to figure out this Auburn football team.
Yeah.
But one thing we're good at Auburn is selling hope.
Okay. I like that.
Right?
I like that.
I mean, think about it. How can you have a back-to-back season of selling out the entire stadium, season tickets, year to year with the record we've had?
You're absolutely right.
There has to be some hope involved in that, right?
Yes, you are absolutely right, without a shadow of a doubt. Of course, Auburn took on Georgia, and all my Georgia friends and buddies, congratulations. The Dogs played well. I'm not taking anything away from that. I think people don't realize that, Smitty, that even though we play in the ACC, serious competition. Mm-hmm. But a lot of us have friends who went to these other schools, and everything is cool. Now, when we're playing, that's a different story.
It's different. Exactly. Right.
But after the game is over, hey, congratulations. Let's keep it moving. Just real quick, just looking back, Smitty, over the game, what are some of your takeaways? I mean, are the Tigers getting better?
I think turnover-wise,
okay,
right?
Mm-hmm.
I was impressed with that because that's going to keep you in the ball game.
Mm-hmm.
I still question some of the, when we get down into the red zone play calling and that sort of thing, and I don't know how to fix that. I hate second guessing a coach and you free. I mean, the guy's been doing it for so long,
right?
And I think sometimes we forget that he didn't forget how to coach.
Yes.
He's done it, right?
Right.
So I hate questioning some of the play calling, but
so let me ask you this. Is it the players or is it a coach? Is it a coach having to make adjustments because he knows what he's dealing with and what he's playing with? Just from my time of coaching, you've coached. A lot of times people will think, well, why aren't you doing this? And you're like, I can't pass as often as you want me to because my quarterback can't throw a ball into the flat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So. I think it's a combination of the two because I think a good coach knows what his guys can and cannot do.
What they're capable
and
of.
You don't like putting them in those situations because it's like, look, he hadn't proved to me that he can do that.
Yeah.
If he can't do it in practice, I'm not going to call it in the game.
Right. Never going to put you in a position to fail. Never put you in a position to fail.
And so you're limited as to what you can do.
Mm-hmm.
And even when it comes to trusting a guy to check down or make a change the play and that sort of thing. So you can trust some guys to do that. Some guys you can't.
Yeah.
You can't turn it over to them like that.
I am with you on that.
So I think it's a combination, but I wasn't totally disappointed. I was expecting Georgia to roar back after the Alabama loss, and Kirby has that kind of Nick Saban mentality. they don't lose very much after a loss.
Yeah. Yeah.
They have a way to getting guys back on track and not feeling sorry for themselves and getting them back into the hunt,
Mm-hmm.
especially when they lose early.
Right.
So the fact that we were in the game for the most part, we didn't turn the ball over. I mean, I was impressed by that.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
And of course you can't go by the last part, the end score. People look at, man, they got blown out
right.
31-13, but it's like you have to look at it and see the progress. So, I
Hmm.
mean, with them coming, taking a little break, who knows what this is going to do, being able to have
Right.
a little time to correct some
Right.
things. And maybe this also puts the players in a position of realizing the tradition of what
Hmm.
they're really playing for. You
Right.
transfer in and you don't quite understand what you really came into. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
And another thing I was impressed with is that you saw Arkansas beat Tennessee, and
yes.
Auburn lost to, Tennessee was the number 4 team
Yes.
in Auburn. So Arkansas is better than we thought they were.
Yes, you're
So
right.
we can't
That's a
come
very
down
good
on
point.
Auburn like, okay, you lose those guys, and so you look at Missouri and Texas A&M.
Hmm.
You know, Texas A&M number 25 beat Missouri, and so we got both of those on the schedule,
Yes, that's true.
and
That's a
so
very good
and so
point.
that's a chance to beat some good football teams.
Yeah,
And then you look at Alabama, it beating Alabama.
man.
Guess
Listen.
who's on our schedule coming up?
Yeah,
Both of
okay.
those guys,
Right. Exactly. So
right?
you already know you can't go into this thing now. Let's and I hate going back in time like this, but Vandy was the school that we always. What do? We booked them for homecoming,
Yeah,
right?
you hung your hat on that one. You just
Yeah.
skipped over that one and moved to the next.
But
I
now,
hate to say it,
yeah, but that's
but
just true. That's just true.
right,
But now it's a different deal. We have to
right.
go in with a different mindset, knowing
Oh yeah.
no, this is going to be a ball game. You're gonna have to play. You're gonna have to play.
Hmm.
So we're gonna go ahead and see how it goes. Well,
Yeah.
listen, Smitty, we're gonna go ahead and jump into some of the questions that were posed to me once again, and I love getting your take on it. Um, we have a question that came in, and someone asked. Life lessons, life lessons you learned from your coach slash or position coach. Now, I'll go ahead and say this.
Okay.
One of the first life lessons that stick out for me were those mornings in the bubble. I mean, that's just a life lesson. You didn't get it. One of the hardest things I've ever done in my life is going through that bubble. That bubble will change you as a person.
Yeah.
But I'll never forget Coach Dye saying, guys, I'm doing this because when it's time for you to get up early in the morning or have a job, you won't have a problem getting up or doing it.
Hmm.
And I mean, to this day, I am an early riser. Get up and listen. I guess I can really say I enjoy drinking coffee and looking out the window because
Yeah.
because I just remember how hard it was, during those times. But getting up early
Right.
or having to press through a tough situation, Coach Dye did a great job of preparing me for that.
Hmm.
And from my position coach, Coach Wayne Hall, life lesson I learned was a statement that he made one time. Because when you get to college, you fully understand it's the politics of
Right.
of ball. And I never forget he
Yeah.
said this: "I can't treat you equal, but I can treat you fair." And that was
Right.
one of those like, I never thought about this in a way. When
Yeah.
you see it get into this politics stuff, it's certain things that I can be fair with you, but I can't sit right here and try to treat you equal. And you start seeing that. And I think too
Hmm.
often that's where we messed up, when we start giving everybody what trophies.
Trophies.
Your
Yeah.
starters, the dudes who was the MVP, he got the trophy of being MVP. So it's being able to see those type of things. How about for yourself, Smitty?
Right.
What?
But for me, and I learned the exact same thing. I mean, we come from the coaches are cut cloth. The biggest thing I've learned, obviously, if you get knocked down 99 times, you get up 99 times,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
And one of the biggest thing Coach Witt told me, I remember him telling me that, okay, I know you're a good student. We don't have to, you're gonna get your grades and that sort of thing. He said, but the same guys that kick your butt on the football field, he's gonna
Yes.
kick your butt in the classroom.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna kick your butt no matter what you do. And so that was a big eye opener
Yeah.
for me.
Mm-hmm.
Just hearing that, because it basically brought to me, hey, no matter what you do, or who you go up against, it's always some level of competition there to be better, right?
Yes.
You
Yeah.
can always be better. And so I learned that from him. And then I guess the biggest from Coach Dye. God, I mean, there were just so many things.
Yeah,
And
I'm
I
with you.
think and I think he made it a point to always put those things with real life, because he knew a lot of the guys weren't going on to the next level, but everybody has their life and their
Yeah.
kids and their families and that sort of thing. But the biggest thing I learned from that is that how you do one thing
Mm-hmm.
is how you do everything.
Man, that's so good.
You know,
Yeah.
making your bed up in the morning, doing the little things,
Yes.
and those things that we always take, a
Yeah.
normal person would take for granted.
Yeah.
But if he can't trust you to touch a line
Man,
or to stay behind
man,
the
isn't that
line,
something
and it's like, I can't
profound?
trust you on fourth and
Yes.
long,
You're right.
on third, to stay on
Yes.
side,
Yes. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh man, you're just being petty. Every little
Yeah.
thing, you're just being
Yeah.
petty on me about every little thing,
Yeah.
you know. And so that was one of the big things, and
Yeah.
and it does really mean a lot. I
It
mean, those
does.
little things,
Yeah.
those go a
It
long
tends
way.
to make a difference. I want to I
Hmm.
want to I want to deviate just a little bit because I want to ask you this, man. I want to just think about this. We're going to come back to this, but I was just thinking about I mean, one of the next questions, like
Okay.
as far as what was one of the biggest adjustments coming from high school to college, and to me, I felt like it was one of those things that I went from playing with little boys to that. It's like you're coming into this thing of playing with grown men,
Right.
and so of course, practicing the way we did and everything being so on time was an
Hmm.
adjustment. And it's one of those things, it was at that time, it was kind of stressful, but you learn to appreciate it because that makes you very time. I know for me, I'm still very time conscious now.
Yeah.
And it came
Hmm.
from that. You don't waste time. What about for you?
Yeah. Same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess a big part. Do you remember when we had 4 day
Oh,
practices?
man.
4 days.
Yes.
And I was telling kids I was coaching, I was like, man, you guys sit here complaining about 2 days.
Yeah.
We used to look forward to
4 days.
2 days.
Yes.
We used to look
That's the
forward to three
countdown.
a
It's
days.
easy then. It's
Yeah.
easy. Yeah. It's getting
And
easier,
and
rather. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and I think when I look back, it's like, you know, we were looking forward to 3 a days. That is the craziest thing I've
Yeah.
and we talked to the guys. It's like, two. You ain't do no 4. I mean,
Yes.
they
Can't
look at me
believe it.
like I'm lying.
Yeah. Oh,
There's
yeah.
no way you did. You
Yeah.
practice 4 times a
Yeah.
day.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. And
Yeah.
that's why I tell anybody if you play for Coach Die, I have respect for you. I'm not taking nothing away from anybody else, but
No.
I just know what we experienced. I want to
Right.
take you back just on a little journey. It was my freshman year. I do believe it was your senior year, junior year. It was one of them.
Junior
But
year, probably.
but
Yeah.
when we
Junior year.
played, you know how you just find people. I mean, when you hear about certain guys, and it's so funny. I know for you, you can probably elaborate even when you guys you heard about in college and you end up playing in the pros with them. And I'll never
Hmm.
forget, like, and I guess one of those things I was just thinking about the similarity right now. I mean, you have Auburn struggling, you have Florida State struggling. So it's one of those things when you start looking back. And I can remember when we played Florida State. Well, it was my, it was my freshman year, and I remember Kevin Porter coming in. We had our team meeting, but Kevin Porter came in and said, "Hey, why you guys are ha and he and get ready because Florida State is kind of gonna come in here with Pat Carter." And I've never heard, I'm like,
Yeah.
who is Pat Carter? Never
Yeah.
heard of him.
Yeah.
But of course, never forgetting '87 when Pat Carter came in and showed us who he was. And
Right.
then what was funny was I ended up being a teammate with
Hmm.
Pat when we went to the Rams. Now, what was your experience right there? Did you play with Pat? I'm just
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Do you remember the '87?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I remember '87 because you gotta remember too that Dion was on that team.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
And so I remember Pat, played with Pat.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's crazy because he ended up being one of my best friends with the
Yeah.
Rams. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we just hit it off from
Right.
day one, right?
Okay.
So, um, but yeah, same thing.
Yeah, and
Same
so
thing. I
it's
mean,
just
he's one of
amazing,
those
and
guys.
it's funny how just even looking back now, I mean, Pat, your friend, Pat's my friend. So it's just cool being able to have these friendships that are long lasting. So
Right.
with that being said, I have a surprise for you, Smitty. I want you to just listen.
Oh no! Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
What's up?
Hey, who just came into the studio from down in Florida? We have the man himself, Pat Carter, Florida State. Pat, welcome to the welcome to the girl.
Hey, thank you for having me. Long time listener.
Long time listener, Pat Carter. Pat, it's
Man,
so good to see you, man.
You look good, man. It's really good to see you.
Yeah.
You too, Smitty. You too as well, my brother.
Yeah, it was funny. Pat ran into my brother at a restaurant up in Florence, Alabama, up in Muscle Shoals, Florence. My brother went to UNA.
Yeah.
And he's like, man, I ran into this guy, Pat Carter. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, I got his number and stuff. He's got to call him. I was like, oh my God. Yeah. So
small world, man.
Small world.
Yeah.
Small world.
Hey, I want to pose some questions to both of you guys, and because all of us are sitting in a very unique situation. Pat, you played with legendary coach Bobby Bowden, and I mean during a great heyday of Florida State football, playing some serious football. Of course, it was the same thing with us playing at Auburn. What is your take now? I mean, Pat, Smith and I have been talking about how it is just watching our team struggle. How has it been for you watching Florida State struggle?
I truly think the NIL has ruined college football, in my opinion. And I'll use us as an example. We spent this money to get the quarterback. Well, if you miss on that quarterback, bro, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
And I give you a perfect example. Miami hit on their quarterback.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you notice the difference.
Right.
There.
Yeah. Right.
And there's only so much NIL money to go around.
Correct.
Yeah.
If it all goes to the quarterback, you got nowhere to go with any other position.
Yeah.
Right.
That means you got to recruit well, or you got to do something else. But
let me ask you this: let me ask you this, Smitty. I'm sorry to cut you off, but what I kind of don't understand is like who's developing the high school kids? Because if I'm going to get everybody out of the portal, how are the high school kids being developed?
That's exactly my take on it, because I haven't understood that, because when we were coming through, everybody got developed.
Right.
Correct.
It was you didn't see a freshman step on the
right. Oh yeah.
Yes. Oh no, I'm sorry. I did. I did.
Listen.
Hey Pat.
We all saw.
Let me raise my hand. I did too.
hey, we all saw one or two.
Yeah.
One or two back in the day.
Yeah, I was the exception, not the rule.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that many of you, right? It was one or two. When I came in, it was Kevin Porter and Andre Bruce.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Andre Bruce, the #1 pick in the draft.
In the draft.
Right.
Yeah.
It ain't gonna be too many like that.
No. You're
right. Coming through. Everybody else got that red shirt tag.
But you better believe if they could have redshirted me, they would have. They just couldn't They didn't have a guy that they could have got through the season with, you know?
Right.
Hey, Pat, I want to pose some questions to you. It was some of the questions that we've been getting, and I know for Auburn fans, please understand, we are friends. So don't look at, why does he have a guy from Florida State? Listen, we are friends. That we play Florida State, but play for legendary coaches. And, Pat, what were some of the life lessons that you learned from Coach Bowden?
Wow. You caught me off guard there, but Coach was a great motivator.
Okay.
Let me tell you this story. I like to share this story with Coach Bowden. Coach Bowden, my senior year. Now I'm going into my senior year. I started all the previous 3 years. He's going to exempt the 5th year seniors from participating in spring practice. Now you know I'm hot because I done played more than all of them dudes. So I set up a meeting. I call his secretary, Miss Sue. You don't get to Coach Bowden without Miss Sue. Yeah. And I'm sure I'm sure Coach Dye had his secretary like that as well. But anyhow, so set up the meeting, go in there. I'll be honest with you. I don't know what he said to me, but I remember leaving that meeting ready to practice spring football.
Wow, that's beautiful. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, and
But
that's what coaching
but that's the beauty of Bobby Bowden. I'm just telling you, that's the beauty of Bobby
absolutely. Guys, I want to ask this question real quick. And again, it was posed to me, but I just want to. All of us have been through that same experience, being able to play at major colleges. And someone said, if you could go back in time, what advice would you give yourself during your time? And I'll just say at your school. For us, Smitty, at Auburn. For you at Florida State. What advice would you give yourself now if you could go back in time?
Me? You asking me this first?
I'll go with you. Go ahead.
Okay. Looking back, I wish I was a student that did just enough to get by.
Right.
You know what I mean? I wish I would have just really put my, best foot forward and been the best student I possibly could have been.
I got you.
Yeah.
Smitty, what about you?
For me, it's just being where your feet are.
Yeah.
Taking time to enjoy it, and I kind of touched on this last week. Just taking time to take it all in.
Right.
Instead of looking for the next things and looking for the next phase where you got to get better and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Man, just enjoy it. Just enjoy the guy.
Yeah.
That's the advice I would give anybody, man. Just take some time to smell the roses.
Yeah, I'm with you, and that was one of the things that I touched on as well last week on being able to say just being present, being in the moment. Yesterday, my high school class had, I guess, a picnic, and I actually went. And it's so fun when you go with a different mindset, because it was a thing of, like you saying, being present, even though these are people who you grew up with, but it was being able to really take that moment and really focus in to that person, you know what I mean? And enjoy that moment that you have. And I think so often we know for us, our goal was to get to the NFL, but so you saw college as just a stepping stone. I'm 4 years away. I'm 3 years away. So you're so busy just getting through it, more so than saying being able to slow down and really take some time and enjoy what's going on.
Could I ask you guys a question?
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
If you did either one of you guys ever step on that seal in front of Sanford Hall?
You know what? Well, I know I wouldn't say step on it. I wouldn't.
Oh,
do that.
I know you weren't supposed to step on it. That's why I asked that. I did a little research. I got a little research.
Oh boy. Yeah, but
I stayed as far as away from it as I could.
Yeah,
it was just like step on a crack, break your mama's back. Kind of thing. I jumped right over it. No.
Yeah, absolutely.
Didn't want that mojo, karma, whatever you want to call it. Didn't want to chance it. So.
Yeah, that is so true.
So people really dove into President's pool fountain.
Well, now you get into some stuff, Pat. That if you came onto the podcast to discuss that.
I'm sorry. I just had a quick question. I apologize.
Listen, I cannot confirm or deny.
Okay, fair enough.
Any of that. But Pat, one of the things just to bring you on, I wanted to be a surprise for Smith. I know that you've been knowing Brian, so I couldn't let Brian in. So I'm like, I got a little something that we're gonna do on the show. Yeah. So I want you to know how much we appreciate you being on the show. But Pat, there's something that you also did that has been very unique. I mean, again, because a lot of times people think once you play ball, that's all you are. But people don't know that you recently just released your first book.
Correct. Yes, it's called All American. It's called All American Poet, and it just touches on my college years at Florida State.
Yeah,
and it's a prelude to I have a second book coming out after that.
Yeah,
but it's just poetry. It was great to revisit the old time.
Well, listen, I'm going to go ahead and say this.
That's awesome, man.
Smitty, I have my copy right here.
Oh, I need to get mine.
And I'm telling you, this is really good. Now, here's the thing, and I'm going to go ahead and put it out there. I noticed you have a poem about Auburn, too.
I had a really good game, though. It was only because I had a really good game.
Yeah. Oh, man. So yeah, that has been one of the highlights, man. So I have been enjoying the book. So it's
Thank you.
really good. So again, that's just a friend helping a friend.
All
Listen,
right,
if you,
I'm gonna need a signed copy, man.
yeah,
I got
say
you,
not the
Teddy. I got
Amazon.
you.
Now you can't
Because
find it on
people don't
Amazon.
believe you, right?
Yeah.
You say, "Yeah, man, I got Pat Carter,"
Yeah,
but
yeah.
they're like, "What? No,
Yeah.
you don't."
Hey, you just ordered off Amazon. No, I have the the autographed copy of it, right? Oh yeah. So, but no, that is no, I think that's cool, man. Pat, I want you to know how proud I am of you, man. You know,
Thank you, my brother.
as
Your
they say,
encouragement helped me now. Just
Yeah.
believe that. I appreciate the encouragement.
being able to
Appreciate that.
as you all know, I'm a man of faith, so it's being able to step out on faith, stretch yourself, and make it happen. So that's what's really, really good, man. So I really do appreciate that.
I'm not surprised, man. You know, I appreciate you, man, and
Yeah.
you know what we went through back in the day, and
Yeah.
and man, just having you there, man. Again, you don't know what that meant to me, and having somebody to talk to and hang out
Likewise.
with. So, man,
Likewise.
I appreciate you, my brother.
Hey,
sure.
Hey, because technically, Smitty, you and I kind of, well, I spent a year in Detroit, but we came to the Rams pretty much the same time.
Mm.
you
Yeah,
know?
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's one of those things that Pat, when you were talking about, you really wish you would have taken advantage of being that student. I'm going to go ahead and say it. Brian was that guy.
Oh, he was that guy? Oh, so he was
he's gonna. You open up his door. You know, you're thinking, hey, it's time to go party. He's like, no, I got to get this handled in this class. I got. So
Hey,
no, hey, but look,
well,
but it was one of those
for
things
me,
that I respected.
I didn't have any of those avenues. My dad was like, okay, man, I'm gonna get this education.
Yeah.
If I don't get nothing else.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're not, I wasn't as highly recruited as you guys. I wasn't a 4 and 5 star guy coming in. So it's like, okay, I'm gonna get my, I'm focusing on my master's, my, just getting my degree. I said, if I don't get anything out of this, I'm gonna get some papers out of it.
Man, hey guys,
hang on the wall. So.
I want to do this real quick as we get ready to close out on the Grow podcast. You know, we have people listening, a lot of people who have kids. So often parents are putting pressure on kids, thinking, you know, if the kid is slightly good at football, he's going to go pro.
Right.
But yet 1 out of every 10,000, that number keeps going up. That's going to make it. What words of encouragement would you give, or what words of advice would you give to parents that are listening who are pushing their kids in the avenue of sports? And I'll go ahead and go with you, Pat. Let's go. I'll start with you.
Okay. Well, and my biggest thing is, it's about the child. The child should want to participate in the sport. If he's forced to do something, he's going to burn out, or he's not going to enjoy it. And and in my opinion, I think that's just the most important thing. It's the fun aspect of it. If you're making it, the parents doing things begrudgingly, the kids aren't going to really receive, want to do it as well.
Right. So basically, don't force the child, right?
Correct.
Don't force the child. I love that. I love that. Yeah. Smitty, what would you say? What advice would you give?
That would be a big part of my take is, unless have fun doing it.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to tell you what I went through to get to, when someone says, man, I want to play in the SEC and I want to play at the next level. Yeah. And I was like, man, you ain't ready for that.
Yeah.
I said, and I tell, when I was coaching, I would tell the parents the same thing. I said, look, if you got to tell him to make up his bed, to take out the trash, to do his homework, he ain't ready for SEC football.
Correct.
That's
academically or otherwise.
Yeah.
Correct.
And I tell him that. So when kids come to me and say, what I got to do, I said, man, I don't want to talk to you until you start taking out the trash, doing the homework. Because your mama coming in and tell me she can't get you to do nothing. I said, listen, you go and try to play SEC football. Ain't no coach want to hear that either. They don't want to tell you to go to class. They don't want to sit down with you. They're going to just take you from your scholarship. Replace you. And then the second thing I tell them and say, look, I'm going to tell you like I told my own son. I said, man, if you don't love this sport, there's a whole lot more academics money than there is athletic money.
Amen.
Right. Yeah.
And they don't understand that. I was like, look, man, you get your grades, you can get money for scholarship. You don't have to go through what I went through. You don't have to go through 4-day practices.
Yeah. Okay.
Get a
Hey, and keep
scholarship. You
going.
don't
Knee
want it.
replacement, bad thumbs, bad back. It's a lot of stuff. That you just start looking at that
Yeah,
counts
just
it up.
focus on your SAT, your
Yeah.
ACT, get your grades
Right.
up, man.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
but if you don't love this thing, don't do it.
Yeah. If
But
I had,
also now, I never discourage others because college isn't for everyone. But
I
you
agree
can go
with you.
get a trade or something else
I
and
agree
still
with
make
you.
a wonderful life.
Oh yeah, I
Right.
agree with you. And that was one of the
Right.
things I was going to say. I was going to say if your kid or kids are great in sports, I think it's good. Okay, you develop that sport, but I think it's also very important to let them know and realize that they're more than just an athlete.
Correct.
You're more than just that one dimensional. This is all that I do. So I really believe in if they have time and when they have time, develop all the other areas of their lives. I mean, if they're a writer, let them write. If they're good at drama, let them be a part of that. Don't just consume their time with, we're going to do football because it's going to take up enough time. Sports take up enough time. But if it's other things in their life, help develop that because you just never know when that transition may come, or if they don't make it, they're not sitting here like, oh my God, what am I going to do now? It's just easy for them to transition to something else.
But you also have to guide.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of times kids are all over the place.
Yes, I
You
agree
got to
with
tell
you.
them. It's like, man, that's not your strength.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm with
You
you.
don't want to do that.
Yeah, I'm with you now. Yeah, and as they say, keeping it 100 with them too, on the things that they're good at and that they're not good at. Well, listen, guys, go ahead, Smitty. Well,
but you got to be committed to
Yeah.
what it is you're doing, right? You just want to be committed to it.
I am with you. I am with it. Hey, listen, I appreciate you guys being here on the Grow Podcast. Thank you guys for being guests here. I really do. And we're going to keep this thing going. Okay, Pat, I may have you back on. I want to go about your books and talk about that and just talk about how you're growing in that area. And Smitty, you already know. We're going to take a break because Auburn's not playing, so we're not talking. But when they get back to playing, it's going to be back to it. Let's talk Auburn. But listen now, I'm going to tell both of you. I appreciate you guys being on the show. I hope you guys have a great week of growing. And to all of my listeners, let's go, let's grow. And as always, let's keep it moving, people.
Good seeing you, man.
Thank you,
Pat.
man.
Love you, brother.
Love you too, Smitty.
All right.
All right, Rob.
Peace. Love you guys.
Peace. All right now.